you say thank you to those who gave everything? How do you honor the brave men and women who paid for our freedom? The truth is, there are no words. There is nothing we can say when the sacrifice speaks for itself. Today, we honor our heroes. Lives given, not in vain, but with purpose. We stand grateful for their courage, blessed by their strength, and encouraged by their resolve. For the fabric of America is held together by the thread of the American soldier. Today, we remember their sacrifice.
the world is broken?
we do.
Do you feel the shadows deepen?
We do.
But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through?
We do.
Do you wish that you could see it all made new?
We do.
Is all creation groaning? Is a new creation coming? Is the glory of the Lord to be the light within our midst? Is it good that we remind ourselves of this? Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave, is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory? Is he worthy of this? He is. Does the Father truly love us? Does the Spirit move among us? And does Jesus, our Messiah, hold forever those he loves? And God intend to dwell again with us? Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave, he is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. From every people and tribe, every nation and tongue, he has made us a kingdom, a priest to God, to reign with his Son. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory? Is he worthy? Is he worthy? Is he worthy of this? He is. Is he worthy? Is he worthy? He is. He
It's not my life to live. It's not my song to sing. And all I have is his. For all eternity. It's not my righteousness. for all eternity. And we will crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. Crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. It's not by war, it's not by weight to bear. By his mighty hand, won the victory. Yes, he won the victory. Crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. Crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. It's not by blood, but it stands in my defense. And oh, what love is this? Won the victory. Yes, he won the victory. Crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. Crown him, King of glory. Crown him, Lord of all. Crown him, Lord of
Did you know Living Hope Community Church is part of a Christ-centered global movement more than 6 million people strong? It's true. Our Acts 1:8 family, inspired by Jesus' love and empowered by His Spirit, is passionate to bring the good news about Him to our neighborhoods and world. Today, just in our U.S. Alliance family alone, there are over 500,000 worshipers speaking 37 languages and dialects in over 2,000 churches. We've sent about 700 Alliance International workers to 70 nations who care for the sick, befriend the lonely, and introduce spiritually impoverished people to the one who releases us all from the curse of sin and death. We Alliance churches take it upon ourselves to financially support their decision to follow Jesus and to some of the least reached people of the world with the message of Jesus. The way we do that is through the Great Commission Fund. Every year, we make a special effort to stock the storehouses of the Great Commission Fund so our workers can plan and continue their work overseas. This year, our Great Commission Day is June 28th, but we're definitely not alone in this. The Alliance family is connected as ever. I want you to hear from some other pastors in the Alliance family, starting with Ted and Sandy Kang, who we fell in love with when we ministered alongside them in Thailand last February.
We celebrated Great Commission Sunday because our mission has not changed.
And we believe this is the moment for the church to shine.
Celebrating a Great Commission Day hasn't necessarily been one of our practices at Salem Alliance. Don't get me wrong, we believe in the Great Commission. Every day is a Great Commission Day, so we've been in all year long. This year feels different.
We may be missing a lot of things that we have been used to having around us, but one thing that we will not miss is supporting our missionaries through Great Commission Day who are caring for people in other parts of the world who are in crisis.
It's exciting to hear the reports from IWs all around the world of how they are responding in the midst of this chaos. we have an opportunity to be a part of the work that God is doing around the world. I want to encourage you, Alliance family, to continue to give in amazing ways. The response has been incredible.
We'll do it because we love Jesus. We'll do it because we want to see the gospel grow beyond our city. We'll do it because they are family, and families stand together in difficult times.
We will be celebrating Great Commission Day offering in a few weeks. We are inviting all the Alliance churches to join us.
To give, to send, to partner, and to advance Christ's kingdom worldwide.
We're in on Great Commission Sunday.
So, will you join us, Alliance family?
From now until June 28th, visit our website at WenatcheeLivingHope.com, go to the online giving page, and select CMA Missions in the drop-down menu. You can also mail in a check with CMA Missions in the memo line if you want. Remember last year when God prepared 60 licensed workers to be sent, but there weren't funds to send them? We at Living Hope with the U.S. Alliance Churches stepped up in a big way, gave more than ever before, and celebrated when over $1 million was raised, allowing us to send all 60 of those workers. Guess what? God is doing it again. This year, more workers are waiting to be sent. A few weeks, a generous donor came forward and issued another challenge for Alliance churches to match their donation of $125,000. And then last week, that donor pledged $125,000 again, doubling their contribution challenge to $250,000. If Living Hope and other Alliance churches step up, we can be part of God sending a new wave of gospel workers around the world for His glory and pleasure. Let's join Him again, Living Hope.
Howdy, fellas. How we all doing? Fellas, we are in a tight spot. We are in the apocalypse. But as much as the world wants us to get down with viruses, killer bees, all this sort of stuff, we need to stay positive. So today, the boy himself, me, Andrew, am going to teach you how to live your best lifestyle in quarantine. Step one is to get up nice and early every morning. Make sure you have a fresh start to your nice day, because you always want to make sure that your day starts off nice, early, refreshed. You need to have a good mindset in the morning. You need to have the best. You need to just absolutely. I don't believe it. Now, the other way to have the perfect morning is to start off with a nice, healthy breakfast. That is the essence of every morning. You want the healthiest breakfast you can find. And after you've had that healthy breakfast, the next thing you want to do is, of course, relax. I mean, you just woke up. Before you get to work, you kind of want to unwind before you put yourself in a fully work mode. So it's always perfectly fine to, just take some time to relax. For me, personally, I like playing video games, watching TV shows, whatever works. But, just relax, unwind. And, of course, once you're done unwinding, it is finally time to actually get to... Then, when your day is finally over, you can finally go to good night.
Hey, Teen Time kids. Hopefully everything's well. I have a question for you. Have you heard the whisper? And no, I don't mean the dog whisperer. I mean the whisper of God. I was reading about the prophet Elijah and how he was in a cave. He was kind of going through a moment of depression, and God told him to come out because his presence was going to pass him by. And so Elijah was waiting, and there came this big wind that shook the mountain and shattered the rocks, and God's presence wasn't in it. And then there was an earthquake, and still God's presence was not in it. And then there was a fire, and there was no presence of God in that either. But finally there was a whisper, and that was the voice of God speaking. I just wonder if during this time, this is kind of like our quiet whisper time. Regular life, we're kind of busy, we're always doing things, and that's kind of like the wind and the earthquake and the fire, you know. It's hard to hear God speak. But while things are a little slower right now, maybe it's the time to be listening for God's whisper. So, take the opportunity, take a moment, and listen for God speaking in your life. Take care. We'll see you guys soon, and looking forward to seeing you. Bye.
Did anybody else notice that crazy rainbow we had a few days ago that just went all the way across the sky? And there was this crazy section in the middle somewhere where it was like the rainbow colors went through like 3 different times, like right next to each other. I don't know that I've seen that before, and it was awesome. And Brad Brisbane took some pictures of our valley in the middle of this kind of crazy, the neat storms we've been having the last week. And so thanks, Brad, for sending those in. I just love that you're willing to just notice beauty, to capture it, and to send it to us so we can just be in awe with you. And that goes for you kids too, or adults, kids of all ages. Just share anything that you find beautiful or interesting, or art that you're making, food that you're cooking. We'd love to just share that with each other. So this morning, I want us to think like detectives. So let's start by warming up the creative, analytical part of our brains, all right? I'm going to give you a few riddles, and let's see if you can type the right answer into the live chat box before time runs out. Silas Kiepenheim, just so you know, none of the answers are time, okay? It's just for fun and to get us thinking analytically, so just take a shot at it. Okay, ready? Here we go. Billy Kellogg's father had 3 sons. Their names were Snap, Crackle, and what? I'll give you about 5 seconds, so type it in fast. Third son's name was Billy Kellogg. Did you get it? Billy Kellogg's father had 3 sons, so Billy was the third one. A little tricky, too easy. All right, we'll try another one. This time you try to guess the object and type in the answer as soon as you have a guess, okay? I am a greenhouse. Inside me is a white house. Inside that is a red house filled with babies. What am I? That one's not easy. I'm a greenhouse. Inside me is a white house. Inside that is a red house filled with babies. Just a few more seconds. Come on, what am I? A watermelon. Right? Green, white, red, bunch of seeds inside. That one might not be as fair to a generation that has grown up on seedless watermelons and doesn't know the wonder of this thing. But okay, one last one. Here we go. You have 3 stoves, a gas stove, a wood stove, and a coal stove, but only one match. Which should you light first? 5 seconds to type in your answer. Go! Okay, clearly out of all of those things, you should light the match first, right? Okay, I hope that was fun and tweaked your brain to start thinking a little differently. Grab your Bibles and get ready to dive back into we explored how God was giving Jonah a redo on a failed assignment and what a big deal that was because Jonah was a prophet. Prophets aren't supposed to be wrong. Deuteronomy 18:22 says, when a prophet speaks in the Lord's name and the message does not come true or is not fulfilled, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. In Jonah 3:4, we read how Jonah goes to Nineveh and tells them, in 40 days, Nineveh will be demolished. Then, last week, we read in verse 10, God relented from the disaster he had threatened to do to them, and he did not do it. Okay, so maybe it's just me, but something clicked in my detective brain. If, according to Deuteronomy, a prophecy can be disregarded if it doesn't happen, how does that work with Jonah? I mean, Didn't what he prophesied not come to pass? I mean, we know it was God who gave him the prophecy and God who turned from his course of action, but still, maybe I'm overanalyzing this, which I'm very prone to do. But if someone actually came into my town, said they had a message from God that he was going to demolish our fair city, then it didn't happen, I would probably write that person off. Again, I might be picking on a technicality, but it honestly bugged me. Well, one of the things I love most about following Jesus is that it isn't a religious thing where God tells us to switch off our brains and just believe. He actually invites us to turn on our detective brains and investigate. So that's what I did. Finally, I found a clue when I was tipped off to investigate the original word translated as demolished. That word in Hebrew is hafach, and it appears 94 times in the Bible. It got interesting when I checked it out in a Hebrew English lexicon, which is a super intense dictionary. The three main definitions from the lexicon are to turn or turn about, to overturn or overthrow, and to change or transform. Okay, that's weird. Demolished isn't even listed there. What gives? So 36 out of 94 times, hafach is translated as turn, making it the most common translation by far. Isn't that interesting? We just talked about a different word translated as turn last week. Okay, let's look at some other key verses where our word is translated as turn. It pops up in Exodus 7:20, when all the water in the Nile was turned to blood. Then in Psalm 30:11, where David wrote about God saying, "You turned my lament into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with gladness." All right, we definitely get the sense that this translation has to do with something changing its actual nature or state. Demolishing things seems pretty different though. Demolish is the second most common translation of the word hafach, being translated that way 7 out of 94 times. When it's translated that way, it pretty much means what you think it means. Yeah, total and complete destruction, like in Genesis 19:24 through 25, where the Lord rained burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah, and even the ground is messed up. Okay, so all the clues come together in this chart that gives us a great picture of all the different translations in a glance and how often they appear. We can see more clearly from here that this word has a sense of total, complete change or transformation. It's like the change would be so drastic that you barely wouldn't recognize it from what it was before. Aha! So we've got a double meaning wordplay thing happening again. When God said through Jonah that Nineveh would be demolished, he used a very specific word, very much on purpose. He was saying that in 40 days, he was going to do a massive thing in Nineveh, so big that you wouldn't even know it was the same city. It would either be reduced to rubble, or these proud and violent citizens would be so humbled you'd hardly know they were the same people. So yes, emphatically yes, the prophecy Jonah spoke did indeed come true. It was going to come true either way. How awesome and crafty is that? As I was thinking of people God took through a very Nineveh-like transformation, I thought of my friend Rio. Here she is on the right with two more precious women of God, Alicia and Berlin. Love you, ladies. And here's a photo of Rio from just a few years ago. Now that's a person you'd hardly recognize, right? I gave her a call and she graciously shared her story with us.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, how are you doing
God
today?
bless you. I'm doing
God
really
bless
good.
you. Did you feel like you were on a path that was leading you to destruction before? Did you have any inkling, or did you care? Did you think about that when you were in your previous life?
I really didn't think I had anything wrong with me. But then I moved to Wenatchee, and I realized right before I moved to Wenatchee that something was missing. There was something wrong. There was There was just something it wasn't clicking for me. Like, I studied neuroscience for a whole year. And like, usually when you study neuroscience for a whole year, you learn a thing or two about your brain, right? And your body chemistry and everything that goes on in your body. And so I realized something was missing, you know? Like, I realized, like, dude, there's something not clicking for me. There's just something wrong. Okay, maybe if I move physically, if I move somewhere, you know, because apparently moving from Hawaii to Washington wasn't enough. We moved to Wenatchee, and about 3 days in, I just lost all control. I just lost all control. You know, I left my daughter with her dad and just kind of branched off into this whole witchcraft thing, which I had been dabbling in for 10 years, you know, and that was like my belief, my religion, you know, was Wicca. It just made me internally, like, I just felt sick. I felt drained. I felt like there was just no way that I was going to be, when I moved to Wenatchee, the way that I felt was, okay, I'm hopeless. There's no hope for me. Like, I'm done. I feel dead. October 20th, like right after 4 days after my daughter's birthday. And I was just looking out at the sunset on the bridge, and I was 100% like committed to jumping off the bridge and just ending everything, right? And like, no one was stopping me, you know. Turned off my phone, parked my car on the side of the freeway, like, just didn't like care. And I looked at the sky, and I said something. And I didn't know why I was saying something. Like, I was talking like to like the world, or I was voicing something to out. Like, I was like, hey, like, I was like talking to somebody. Like, it was weird because I, you know, didn't believe in God, like didn't know Jesus, didn't like, I think I got saved when I was 12, but like the world and just the way of the world like just consumed me, you know, for such a long time that I fell away completely from Jesus. Didn't even believe that he was real nor good at all. You know, if he was real, I just thought he was this evil, horrible person, right? That destroyed my life. And so my belief in God was that I was my own God, you know, that like, I make my own life, I manifest my own destiny, and like the new age stuff, you know. But I voiced something to the air, and all in that moment when I spoke, like, and it was something negative, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm ready to die, you know? And all in that moment, I experienced this wind inside of me, like this wind, like I felt something like just blow over me, and the feeling of suicide like completely shattered. And then, you know, after 2 weeks, I really started realizing that there was a good, something light, something that was love, something that was good, that had saved my life. And when I got to the Gospel House, which is where I stayed, you know, part of the Lighthouse Ministries, you know, they talked about Jesus a lot, you know, and like, I was just very dark, still kind of in a dark place, you know, with witchcraft, because I still claim that was like my religion, you know, but I realized there was something more light. And so I started just asking, like, just talking and being like, hey, like, who are you? Like, I want to talk to you. Like, I want a connection with you, you know? And then just one thing led to another, and I realized that Jesus was God. I realized, you know, nobody really preached the gospel to me. Nobody really led me through the prayer of salvation, until, you know, one night my daughter got kidnapped by her dad, and I realized that I still like was missing something, you know, like it was 2 months after my situation on the bridge, and I decided that I was going to give everything to Jesus. Like, I said, okay, I'm going to believe you're real, you know, but you need to prove it to me. Please prove it to me that you're real. And I'm just going to give you everything now. And so I like got on my face, like bawling my eyes out. And I surrendered everything to Jesus. A month later, everything changed. I think he baptized me in the Holy Spirit. I believe that. I definitely believe that he baptized me in the Holy Spirit, and I just caught on fire immediately. Was just on the streets evangelizing, telling people about Jesus. And it was just coming out. Like I couldn't control it. It was just coming out and coming out and coming out, just blazing fire. It was crazy. And so during that first year, I met a lot of people. You know, it was just really crazy. First year, I got full custody of my daughter. Like God set it up for me to get full custody of my daughter. Like I've gone to the Grace house. Like just really crazy things happened, and I realized like he completely destroyed like every idol, every way that I used to do things, every wall of pride. You know, I still, obviously people deal with pride, I deal with pride, but like he demolished so much in my life at that moment. 2 months after I tried to commit suicide, and it just, man, it transformed my life in a really radical way. And so I've just been on that path ever since.
So that's kind of crazy. I mean, that is kind of what I'm thinking about. Like if someone would have come to you and said, hey, your life is going to end either way today, when you were on that bridge, you know, I mean, your life did end. It didn't end the way that you thought it was going to, but what you're describing later, like your life is totally different.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. It's crazy. It's just a crazy story of how faithful God is and how much he just loves, how much he recklessly loves. And like, he just, no matter what state you're in, like no one's too far gone for the grace of God. Like no one is too far. Like I was probably just like the Ninevites, you know what I mean? Like just indulging in sin and did not know or think that there was anything wrong.
So when you look back at this gal, this lady,
crazy, bro.
Do you recognize her?
Yeah, I do. I definitely feel for that girl, and I definitely love her, and I know that God loved her, and she was important, more important than she even realizes, and like, but she's dead, like, you know, and like the brand new creation is here now, and like it's just crazy, like to even look at that face, because that's not me anymore. Like that's not me. That's not even close to who I am. And like just that feeling of like just death like isn't there anymore, you know? And
well, I mean, I know we didn't
crazy.
We just, you know, texted you like minutes ago before we started talking. So I mean, it strikes me as pretty awesome that you're talking about this way. And I don't know if you're aware that you're wearing a necklace with a butterfly on it right now.
Yeah.
About this.
It's crazy. I know. I was just thinking that. Like, oh, I love it. New creation.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Bless you.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me.
For sure.
And we'll be in touch.
Yes, definitely. God bless you, Jeremy. Have a good one.
Bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Don't miss this. The message God gave to Nineveh did not include the option of carrying on business as usual. Change was coming. It reminds me of Luke 20:18, where Jesus is talking to some very good religious people, comparing himself to a large stone. He says, "Everyone who falls on that stone will be broken into pieces, and if it falls on anyone, it will grind him to powder." Where is option C? Can I get the scratch and dent deal, or maybe take some heavy bruising? That option isn't here. The Bible does not say that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to stop when you're pretty great. No, he promises he will complete it. For our discussion groups today, let's look back at where God has brought us from and share those stories with each other. Can you think of a person you haven't seen in a while that would now be surprised if they got to know you? What might they notice? Okay, your story may not be anything like Rio's, so don't get stuck on comparing yourself to someone else or feeling like you're somehow less because you haven't had certain experiences. How are you different from how you were at an earlier point in your life? It could be how you handle relationships, how you spend your money, how you don't spend your money, a mindset you were stuck in, how you get your sense of worth, how you see yourself, how you see others. Pick an area of your life that God broke through and changed. God bless you. Have a fantastic week.